Go. Oh my God, dude.
I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. I just died. I can't breathe. Steve, I swear to you, I haven't laughed that hard in like 10 years.
How's everybody doing now?
Oh,
Armageddon.
no.
Armageddon! It's gonna be real.
I'm a dumb nerd. Just right after high school, ended up joining the Army.
You guys seem way more chill than that intro. I'm ready to take your fucking country back. I don't even live there.
You do not apply your brake to merge.
Dude, we should get a boxing match going.
Smack the shit out.
Balls to the head. That sounded wrong. I have to highlight that one. Oh my Lord.
And stay the hell out of the left lane if you're not passing it.
You're so salty about this driving.
You don't have to have a massive channel to make an impact, you know?
I've learned a very important lesson through this video. Is to always keep your gerbil on a leash.
My dad was at the show, and I look at my dad, and I'm like, fuck, do I drop the wheelchair jokes? He's like, just fuck them.
You know, that's what the whole freedom of speech is.
Then this old lady walks in with like a walker, and I look at him, and he goes, oh yeah, you're fucked.
You don't have to agree with it, absolutely not. But you best defend their right to do it.
Again.
And of course, people like Pelosi, they're not going to get in the way because they all became multi-millionaires.
It's a great way to just exercise your rights because we got to teach these government nerds that all swear an oath to it what our freedoms are because they're so lazy they don't care.
They're all in on it. There was really nobody to like support us and defend us against these evil people inside. There was no one that was going to step up and have our backs.
I had a fun night. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
To have a place for everyone to go to where they can just forget about life for a little bit and have fun.
You know, don't live on the past or don't take the present for granted and only think about the future. You gotta just have fun with life before it can't be fun anymore.
Good or bad, everything happens for a reason.
People are wearing blinders. They don't understand what's going on.
I'm guilty of inciting my constitutional rights. Absolutely, every day.
If they don't like it, then they don't have to be there. Y'all take it easy. Love y'all. See y'all on the next one.
You know, you're never gonna please everyone. Not everyone's ever gonna like you. Just say what you want to say and fuck them all.
Much love to y'all. Stay prayed up, man. God is good. Love each other and be kind.
Much love, much aloha, and most importantly, God bless. I love that intro. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
We are going to have a very, very, very thought-provoking live debate with JS Urban Adventures and Jalin. Aloha.
Hello, YouTube.
Oh, I think we lost Jalen's audio again.
Taylor.
My audio.
There.
Oh, no, there you go. You're good. You're good.
Testing. Hi.
That's better.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Good.
All right. Let's do this.
Let's do it. You running water in the background, Jalin? You doing dishes?
Am I? No.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good now. It was just a sound.
Okay, because I was adjusting my chair.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I've had so many things on, so I am very excited about all of this. Can't wait till like it fully starts. It has started, so very excited. So Steve, I'll let you go back to doing your mod duties because I'm talking too much as it is.
No, it's perfect because I was going to say I know most people know you guys, but just in case for anyone in my chat that doesn't, do you guys just want to say a little something about you and your channels or who you are and a little something?
Go first, Jalin.
I'll go first. Hi, I'm Jalin Wesley. For anybody watching, supporting me, this is not like a sinking stream. Don't message me if y'all want to do one of those. I haven't done one of those in a while, but we are doing a very special debate. My Cash App, if anybody wants to send me anything, is Jalin, Jalin 8123. So yes, I will be taking any donations that anybody wants to give, and I am very appreciative to have this debate. I think it's a very important one to have.
Right on.
Nice. I guess my introduction. I've been on Steve's channel before. My name's Josh, JS Urban Adventures, the Dreaded Conservative on Rumble and Kick eventually. But right now, JS Urban Adventures on YouTube. I do live streams, talk about politics, theology, philosophy, and I like doing debates and want to do some more debates. So if anybody on Steve's channel ever wants to challenge me or something, I'm down. Just give me some time. We can plan it out. And this should be fun. Jalin, I like your giant cross pendant.
Yes, I'm very much a proud Christian, and we have to make sure that the Lord is always being represented, especially in what may happen in this conversation between you and I.
And his dog Echo. Yeah, I make camping videos and cooking videos, all sorts of lifestyle videos too. But usually I just stream. Monday nights is the Dreaded Conservative show. That's the main thing that I do. And yeah, you should go check those out. That's it.
Right on. And me, I'm nobody. So let's move on.
You are somebody very thankful.
This is Steve Harloha. Go subscribe to his channel. Maybe Lord Spike can drop his link in my chat.
I just enjoy spending time with all you awesome people. That's why I'm here.
Y'all drop your Cash App tags.
Yeah, my Cash App is $ Dreaded Conservative, and Steve is very good at networking and connecting people, and he's good. He's gonna be a good moderator because he's a moderate guy. So yeah,
very kind person, very chill. Me and him were just talking about my cowboy hat. You all know since Beyonce came out with that, I've been rocking Cowboy J. So, just having a good time. He's a really nice guy. I've appreciated him. And he's even invited me to be on his show one day. So I can't wait.
cool.
Yep. And I don't think because you guys are both nice guys. I don't think I've ever had someone on where I was like, never doing that again. You know what I mean? Hey,
Well, how nice it might get in this debate, but we're nice and have our casualties right now. So we're being nice right now.
We'll see how that ends up.
Right.
So what we're going to do for this, you guys ready to get into it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll have opening statements and you guys get 5 minutes each. And I guess Jalin gets to go first.
I do. All right. Here we go. Does racism exist? On this earth, we have almost 8 billion people, 7 continents, 195 countries, 50 states in America, and according to the USA Census, we have these notable races: Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, white or Caucasian, and Hispanic or Latina, which sometimes is not even considered on the census, which is also very interesting to me. Moving on to the definition of racism, we will start with the Oxford Dictionary, and it states prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. While the Webster Dictionary says a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of race. Moving on from those definitions, we have 4 levels of racism: personal, interpersonal, institutional, and structural. Personal racism is private beliefs, prejudice, and ideas that other individuals have. Interpersonal racism is the expression of racism between individuals. Institutional racism is discriminatory treatment, policy, organization, and structure.
Hold on, Jalen, you're robot.
Hold on.
Oh,
It
body,
started cutting out. Go back 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Okay, I'll just start back on the 4 levels of racism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Started. Also, my roboting.
A little bit.
Testing. 2, 3,
Yeah,
4.
that's why I say go back 6 seconds because you started just for a little bit for 6 seconds you started roboting. So I stopped to watch the counter though. So
I'm not too stressed
you didn't
about the
lose
time. I don't think we're too worried about
Right.
the time limits, but
Okay.
Well, we'll keep it ballpark fair.
yeah.
Thank y'all for letting me know. How am I sounding now?
Good.
Okay. So, yes, there are 4 levels of racism: personal, interpersonal, institutional, and structural. Personal racism is the private beliefs, prejudice, and class that individuals have. Interpersonal racism is the expression of racism between individuals. Institutional racism is discriminatory treatment, policies, and practices within organizations and institutions. And structural racism is system in which public policies, institutional practices, and other forms perpetrate group inequities. There's so many definitions of racism, and it's not just about black and white. There are people in their own race that hate their own selves. There are black people that hate being black, white people hate being white, Hispanic people hate being Hispanic. And that's still very sad and very nuanced. But also, we have to still know that racism exists. Going back to what I was just saying, just because a person shares the same skin doesn't mean they're the same kin. But also, we have been fighting for years for just equal rights among races. And this is not to dogpile on the white majority race, but it is a certain thing to know that there's a difference between majorities and minorities. From slavery, from Jim Crow laws, from segregation, from civil rights, even to the erasure of critical race theory, racism definitely exists, and it's shameful to think otherwise. That's what I have to say. That's my opening argument.
And you only used 3 minutes.
Really? The convention messed me up a little bit because I was like, I don't want a robot too much, but yes, that is my argument. It definitely exists.
All right. And then we got Josh's statement.
All right. So this opening statement was written before hearing Jalin, so this is not to address his opening statement. This is just my opening statement, but he did address some of it. So I'll begin by giving my definition of a few terms, which I hope Jalin will define as well. He did some of them. My definition of race is the color of your skin as determined by the amount of pigment and melanin you have. Ism, my definition in this debate is a belief in something. The dictionary definition is a distinctive practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. Therefore, my definition of racism is a made-up ideology or belief meant to encourage hate and division among angry, easily influenced people for nefarious purposes. Based off those definitions, my opponent is claiming that a belief in some imagined power of skin color exists. A simple rebuttal is to point out that a belief, concept, or idea never actually exists, and at the very least cannot be objectively and consistently upheld. That's what I'll demonstrate today. Allow me to explain why racism cannot and has never existed. I'll start by demonstrating that if this were a real physical thing that exists in humans, it would be inherent in them from birth, not a learned behavior. It is also illogical and inconsistent to believe in science and genetics while also claiming racism is real. Lastly, in order to stop the anecdotal emotional arguments before they stop, I'll use the example of slavery to show that a majority of people's most common ideas of historic racisms were never rooted in race, but a litany of other reasons. Allow me to elaborate. My first point is that if racism in fact existed, it would be an inherent trait. It's not. Racism is taught through society, schools, parents, families, friends, life experiences, etc. A white infant has never recoiled from the hands of a black doctor. out of racism. We see feel-good memes and TikToks constantly of a young black girl and a young white girl who are friends, and they're wearing the same outfit, and they say, "Look, Daddy, we're twins." All it takes is the wisdom of a child to see that racism isn't real. It's a belief forced on us by evil in the world. Consider the story of Daryl Davis, a black blues musician who on multiple occasions infiltrated KKK groups. After meeting and speaking with Klan members, many were convinced to leave the gang after admitting they had never even met a black person in real life. They didn't hate black people. They hated the idea of thugs that they were taught. Next, I'll show Jalin and the audience the inconsistencies in holding a belief in skin color. It's clear that race is a social construct which changes fluidly from place to place or person to person. It's a subjective and arbitrary position. Some people consider Hispanic to be a race, including people of Latin American descent. But Hispanic is related to the people, speech, and culture of Spain, which is European. So you could have white, brown, or black skin. You could be from Europe or Latin America, and you could still be Hispanic. But what race would you be? Brown could apply to Hispanic, Middle Eastern, and even some Asian people. Black could be African, African American, European, Canadian, Jamaican. Some people consider Jewish a race. A Jewish person could be born in any country, have any skin tone, but their religion is their race. So with that logic, Christians should be a race and atheists should be racist. Jalin believes in DNA and genetics. Race is determined by DNA. We share half our DNA with a banana. Is a banana a distant cousin race of humans? If you prefer poodles over pit bulls, are you racist? If you prefer white onions over yellow onions or red onions, does that make you a racist? And before you say species is not race, if an alien species came to the world today and said, "Take us to your leader," we would call them an alien race. If your definition of racism includes the word minority or marginalized people, can black people be racist towards white people in America? And then if those same black people went to Africa, could they now not be racist because blacks are the majority in Africa? Does it change based on geography? These questions may confuse you, but try to answer any of them logically without falling into a pit of contradictions during your rebuttal. For my last primary point, I'm going to explain how even one of the most egregious examples of racism, slavery, is not and has never been racist. Slavery predates written record. It has been present in countless ancient and modern cultures, everywhere from Egypt, China, Israel, Greece, India, Europe, the Americans. Ancient slavery was carried out for reasons ranging from debt payment, punishment for criminals, prisons of war, child abandonment, and children of slaves. On the other hand, modern slavery, which is currently a $150 billion a year business, is based off of profit, not race. When my opponent attempts to pull on your heartstrings with emotional anecdotes and cries of the KKK, slavery, Jim Crow, mean words, or Schmittler and the Yahtzees, just know that calling any of these things racist is shallow and illogical. I can expound on this more in the open conversation. In conclusion, it is clear to me that the concept of racism cannot, nor has it ever existed. It only lives in the hearts and minds of angry, low IQ people. It is a demon that calls itself hate. Quote unquote racist people hate all races, but most of all, they hate themselves. And that's it. Stun locks.
I'm very ready for this rebuttal. So who gets to
rebuttal
give their
first.
rebuttal first? I'll rebuttal first. What do you mean the KKK is not racist? You sound like a
start the timer.
How dare you, first of all, say that? First of all, because you said some very slick things already, but you said shallow to say the KKK is not racist, and then you bring up Hitler and the Nazis, excuse me if we can't say that, and say that that's not racist, and that's a whole genocide of people. You did say something smart in your last few words. You say, if you're a racist, you might hate yourself, and I wonder so much about that for you, because just your words alone show you got some hatred. Now tell me about this Daryl Davis thing. You said something about thugs. Please clarify that, because it was just the connotation that you said thugs and everything. I need you to definitely clarify that. And then I've already answered some of the things, but I knew you would just keep things being just black and white, even though this world is a whole melting pot of different colors. This world is such a melting pot of different colors and everything. I knew you was just going to keep it to being black and white. Let me see. You want me to talk about the color of your skin? You brought up that I would think it's just something with DNA and how we are associated with bananas and stuff. Did you really get all of this stuff from Wikipedia like you claim? Because if you did, it's showing. It's very much showing, sir. So let me see. I'm trying to remember if I'm going to answer all of your questions. You know, ism is just a suffix. Ism, like colorism, professionalism, racism, also globalism. It's just a suffix to try to make a noun into a verb. But that's a big thing that you wanted to focus on. So I did say, what is an ism? It's a suffix. So I'll give you that one. Okay, how have you I wrote down some things and I can't always read my own writing. Okay. The slavery racist. Now, we've talked about this before. Slavery is racist. Slavery is evil. Slavery is something that should have never happened. Whether you're black, white, Mexican, Chinese, whatever, no other person should own any other person. Nobody. That's evil. But yes, if we want to say if slavery is racist, yes, because the way that they raped and killed and tortured my ancestors in front of their children, in front of their families, they stole whole cultures away from my ancestors in Africa. People that were kings and queens. We don't know our languages. We were adopted into this culture and to this language here in America, but we don't even know fully our culture. And how do you think that is fair, sir? It's not. Slavery was very racist. It's much more evil because it did happen to everybody. I know you're going to say that, but nobody should want to own another person. Would you want to be owned? And then you try to bring in that slavery these days as a corporation. No, corporations is not slavery. They are not raping people, killing people, and all of this stuff to different families. No, sir. Go ahead. Y'all can stop my time. Let him say something.
Okay.
You had a minute and a half left.
I don't usually like to use bad words when I'm wearing this cross, so I'm gonna just let him go ahead.
Okay.
I think my mother and father are watching. I don't want them to hear me say bad words.
All right. 5 minutes on the clock. Okay. So none of your definitions had marginalized or minority peoples in them, which is usually the main definition you'll get if you just Google racism. You'll usually have marginalized or minority in there. So I'm not going to go too deep into the Marxist definition of racism because you didn't use any of those as your definition. So I'm okay with that. You said personal, interpersonal, institutional, and structural. That's interesting. Maybe we'll talk more about that in the open conversation because you might be able to score some points in this debate if we talk about what they call systemic racism or structural racism. That's really the only one that I'm interested in. But the interpersonal and the personal, that's emotional. You already went to all the emotional stuff. My people have been held down and marginalized for years and oppressed. Oppression is universal. And yes, you're right. I will say every race has been slaves. Every race has been oppressed. Races have oppressed their own race and enslaved their own race. Korea had the longest history of slavery. For 1,500 years, they were enslaving other Koreans. So would that be racist? In your opening, you were talking about some people hate themselves and they hate, and I agree with that. I think racist people are just hateful people. So if they hate their own race and they hate themselves, how is that racist? I don't understand that. So you'll have to explain that more to me. Let's see. Yeah, so I asked that. You said white majority, since this is a white majority country. So that's kind of with the marginalized thing. If this is a What if we were the white minority country? What if in 60 years the whites are the minority? Now we can't be racist anymore because we're the minority now, or now only we can be racist if we become the minority. Is that how it works? That's doesn't really seem logical to me. It seems like race just changes wherever you go and whoever you are. So when we get to open conversation, I want to find out if you think race is like an objective metric or a subjective metric. Is it different? Is racism different for every person that you ask in every place that you go? It's who can be racist and who can't be racist. It changes based on where you go and who you are. I'm interested to know about that. As far as the Schmittler and the juice not being racist, I got that from Whoopi Goldberg, a black woman. This is the most base thing she ever said. She said the H cost was not about racism because it wasn't. Schmittler killed black people, Jewish people, gay people, gypsies, white people, brown people. Hitler killed everybody. He didn't discriminate. He killed his own people. He wanted a perfect race of blonde hair, blue eyed people, and he had brown hair and brown eyes. So how is that about racism and not about a crazy, angry, eccentric genius guy that got too much power and it went to his head? It's not about race. It's not like he was just trying to kill a certain group of people. He wanted to get rid of them, but he also wanted to get rid of a lot of other groups of people that were the same skin tone as his. The thug thing and the KKK, let me expand on that a little bit. The KKK were a bunch of dumb LARPers in their basement who had never met black people before, but the media fed them, and their parents and their culture fed them an idea of black people. So Daryl Davis was a black man who got on the phone and joined some KKK chapters. Then he would go to the bar and he would meet all the KKK people, and they'd say, "Whoa, I talked to this guy on the phone. He was pretty cool. He wanted to join up. We wrote letters, we talked. So I let him come to the meeting, and he's a black guy." Then they would have a conversation with him, and they would see, oh, we had this image of our head of this black thug that the media fed to us. And that's not what all black people are. This is a cool guy. He's chill. And a lot of those guys ended up leaving the KKK because they realized we don't hate black people. We hate this idea that we have of black people that was taught to us. And so that was my point in that. Now, Daryl Davis will tell you that his mission was to end racism, but I think he inadvertently proved that racism doesn't even exist. It's just dumb people who are angry, and they'll be angry at any race. So what I meant by thug is not black people. It's a thug. You could be a white thug. You could be any thug. It's not about skin tone. If I see a black man coming down the street with a briefcase in his hand, I'm not going to get uncomfortable. Let's say I'm a woman. I'm a weak woman. I'm a man. I'm not going to be worried about anybody walking down the street. But let's say I'm a weak woman, a small woman, and I'm walking down the street alone at night, and I see a black guy with a briefcase wearing a suit. I'm not going to be that scared. But if I see a guy with a wife beater and pants down around his waist and a big cross chain on his neck. No, but it doesn't matter if he's black or white. It doesn't matter what he is. That's a thug, and you're going to avoid them because they commit crimes. They might rob you. And it's not about their skin tone. It's about the culture and how they dress. And, people present themselves in different ways. And it's not so much about skin color. Now, most of the people of a certain skin color might fit into that category, but that's a whole nother topic. And how much am I out of time? How much time do I have left?
Yeah, I was going to say you have, well, actually not anymore. I was going to say you got 10 seconds left, but not anymore.
Okay. Just last thing, suffixes have meanings. You can't just say ism just means it's a suffix. I know it's a suffix, but suffixes are there for a reason. They have a meaning. And that's it. And the world is not fair. I'm done. I think I got all your points.
When do I get to respond to that rebuttal now?
We get to go open combo now. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So now it's open. Now you can go at it.
You you first of all, I want to very much point out you were saying what if I'm a woman, then you made sure that you said what if I was a weak woman. Maybe that's because you're internalized that you're a weak man, because why would you even have to say that? Why couldn't you just say what if I'm a woman?
What I mean is not a bodybuilder jujitsu master. I'm not talking about Ronda
You're gonna have
Rousey.
to
I'm
let
talking about your typical small
I
woman.
get louder than you, sir. That was still stupid of you to say of the weak woman comment. Now you can speak.
Okay,
That's
so
how a conversation goes.
well,
Do
I guess
not
I'm
talk over
I,
when they are talking.
I guess I'm a misogynist and a racist.
Oh, you know you are. You're a misogynist, racist, probably homophobic. Who knows what you are, sir? Who knows what you are? I have this question for
Ad
you.
hom. That means you lost the debate.
What? An ad hominem? Oh, no, don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. Your words are going to make you lose your debate. And if it's not your words, it's your beliefs. Don't you worry about that. You said you wanted to be a little smart aleck about ism, and that's why I gave you a smart aleck answer about isms and stuff. I want to know where did you get your definitions for racism? That's the first thing I want to know.
Well, those were my definition. I told you the dictionary definition of ism, of what an ism is based off the dictionary. My definition of ism is just a belief. At least for the purposes of this debate, we're talking about a belief. So race.
Yeah, racism. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, what? Oh, what is race?
Race, like the color of our skin and everything, and also how I gave two official definitions from Oxford and Webster.
Well, those are
that's
definitions of racism.
Yes, but that's why I just gave my definition of race, like people's skin tone.
So we agree.
Yes, we can agree on that. But
do you agree that an ism is a belief in something?
Yes. Yes. Do you believe that it's also the suffix of something that turns a noun into a verb?
Yeah, it's a suffix.
It's fun to have
it's a suffix that means a belief. Or
it's fun to have education, Joshua. I tell you, it's real fun being educated. But you gave me the answer about how you got your definition. Okay. I want to say this. Because you want to talk about in 60 years, what if white people are the minorities, right? White people get more opportunities than anyone else. White people, and then people with white sounding names get more opportunities. There are times that I go by Jalin, there are times that I go by JC when I've been trying to apply for jobs, just because ethnically I know I'm not going to be looked at as quickly as somebody as like maybe a Steve, a Josh, a Brad.
Where are you?
Somebody with a name like that. I'm sorry.
Where are you?
In Little Rock, Arkansas?
Yeah. So you're in America.
Yeah, I'm in America, and
right.
I still get discriminated against having my beautiful name of Jalin. But there's also not just me. I've heard other accounts, people who have Spanish sounding names, Asian sounding names, people's that names don't sound like the Aryan white race name. And excuse me if that offends anybody that I actually respect outside of Joshua, which I don't respect.
Like a biblical name.
Yeah. Well, Jalen's in the Bible. Jalen's in the Bible. It's spelled with an O, not an I, but it's in the Bible.
Okay, Jalin, hold on. Slow down. So if you're a business owner and you live in America and you deal with mostly American people, white people who speak English, do you think the business owner doesn't have the right to look at the applications and say, I want a John or a Jane and not a Tanisha or a Malekmar?
Oh, that's ignorant. That's ignorant, sir. No, sir, you don't do that on somebody.
I didn't ask if it was ignorant or smart. I asked if the business owner has that right.
Their experience, who's the most qualified, whether it's Tanisha, whether it's Brad, you hire somebody off the best experience. What would you not hire somebody if their name was Jaquan or Tanisha or Shanisha or something like that?
Nope.
You really wouldn't.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
No, I know you wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. Would you? But
listen, if I had a Jaquan and a John and they had the same merit, right? They both had the same amount of degrees and experience and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take the John over the Jaquan because I'm going to assume that John is going to be more culturally adapted to my business structure, and we're going to get along better. He's going to be able to deal with my customers better. That would be an assumption based off of a name. But I don't even know Jaquan's race yet. So how is that racist?
Well, see, and that's the thing. You're just judging people off their name. John could also be black, and there, who knows? There might be a white Jaquan. You don't know, but
we
you're
make judgments constantly
off their name alone instead of like fully even experiencing them. That's wrong and that's racist. Which I'm going to also ask you: how does something not exist? How are you arguing something doesn't exist? But you've given a couple of different definitions in your own words of racism, even to quote how you said the other day on the stream, to quote you, if you've ever worked in the service industry, you know racism is real. Like, you're arguing that it doesn't exist, but you're also helping to prove my point that it does. I told you, your words are going to get you in trouble. Having a little bit of education will always help you a little bit. You should try it.
No, you're right. I said if you've ever been a server at Applebee's, you know that racism exists, because you see quickly that certain types of people who look a certain way tip a certain way. But that's not because of their skin tone. That's not because of their race. That's because of their culture, their family, their society, their group, how they think. That's not, because sometimes you'll get, sometimes when I worked at Applebee's, if there were certain tables, people like, I don't want that table if it's a Samoan party or something, because they never tip. Those people never tip. They come in, they buy all this food, they ask for everything, they want everything changed, they complain about everything, and they don't tip anything. I don't want that table. But sometimes you can get that table, and if you know how to appeal to those people, you get a tip from them. That's what I learned how to do, is how to adapt to different groups of people. And so didn't have a problem with any tables, but other servers would complain about certain types of people, and then they would sound racist. They'd say black people never tip, or Tongan people never tip. And I found that usually on average that's kind of true. But if that's a fact, so this comes down to my like poodle and pit bull argument, or if you see a gardener snake in the grass, you might pick it up and play with it. You might be like, oh, it's a nice little gardener snake. If you see a rattlesnake on the path, you're going to stay far away. You're going to go around it. Those are just skin tones and slight genetic differences, different races of snakes. Does that make you racist? It's like we learn to judge things based off of our experiences, and our judgment may not be right because everybody's different. But stereotypes exist for a reason, because people who look a certain way, like they come from a certain place and have a certain culture, usually act similarly. But that's not racism. That's just common sense.
Yes, the white man with dread said, speaking about stereotypes, because everybody would assume you might be some type of hippie, somebody that actually has a little bit of sense, but you're a big-time Trump supporter. Now, let's get back to you.
They might see my dreads and think I'm a pothead, and guess what? They might be right.
Well, that's your business. That's neither here or there. But what we're talking about is, again, your own words that you just addressed, how some people don't want to serve people because they're the color of their skin. That is discrimination, sir. Now, I can understand there are certain customers, there are certain individuals, like I said, in all the worlds and all the races, there are horrible people and there are good people. Now, but if you individually know those customers, like you personally have served them before, and you're like, oh no, I had a bad experience with them, can we change? Then that's fair, because that's not judging a book off its color. What you were describing, sir, was discrimination. That's also a form of racism. That's part of that racism definition that I gave.
No,
but,
you had me. I agree with you. Discrimination is real. And sometimes discrimination is necessary.
Wait.
But when you say definition is a form of racism, that's where you lose me. Or
how is discrimination real, but racism isn't? And then how is discrimination sometimes necessary?
I discriminate against tapioca pudding. I don't like it.
You sound like an idiot. Be smarter. We're having an intellectual debate. At these,
You be smarter.
I am smarter. I am smarter. I might be losing IQ points for actually speaking with you and having this debate, but hey, there's real people out there, internet world, anybody listening that still believe that racism doesn't exist, and this man is one of them. This man even called Hitler a genius. He called Hitler
an eccentric genius. I'm not saying he was a good guy. I'm saying he was smart and he powerful and crazy, and he killed a bunch of people. But they were all racist.
What do you think of that? What do you think of the Holocaust and slavery and different things like that? What do you think?
I think the Holocaust was horrible and evil and wrong, but not racist. I think slavery it depends. Sometimes slavery is justified. Like when I gave you all those reasons the ancient slavery was done, debt slaves. A debt slave, you owe a debt. It's basically a job. We're slaves right now in America. You pay taxes, you're a slave. You're a slave to the system. You're a slave to your job. You're a slave to your landlord. If you have bills to pay, that's slavery. That's debt slavery. Now, maybe chattel slavery, some forms of it. The Bible says there's goods, and I only bring up the Bible. I didn't want to bring God into this a whole lot, but Jalen's a Christian. He's got a big cross on his neck. The Bible says man stealing is wrong, but it doesn't say that slavery is always wrong. It says if you're a slave master, you need to love your slave and you need to be good to your slaves. If you're a slave, you need to love your master and be good to your master. So sometimes, if we didn't have American slavery, then you wouldn't be in America right now. You would have been, if I don't know your lineage, but if your lineage or your heritage goes to slavery, if you hadn't been a slave in America, you might have been a slave to some Asian or some Middle Eastern person that would have castrated you so that you couldn't have kids, and then you wouldn't exist today. Your family line would have died because they would have put you in a rice field and chopped your thingy off, and you wouldn't exist anymore. But in America, yeah, there were some evil people in America that did the hot boxes and they tortured slaves and stuff. But a lot of the slave owners were just people who were providing houses and food and work for people who came in. A lot of slaves loved their slave owners. I did a whole show about this where I read poems that slaves had written, love letters basically to their slave masters. Some people call that Stockholm syndrome. I disagree. I think they had a better life here than what they would have had otherwise. So that's justified. So slavery sometimes is justified. It's not inherently evil, but it can be evil.
I got a good response for you on some of those people that love their slave owners. We call those house Negroes, and they're the same that would try to sell other blacks and stuff. They would be the ones that betray. They would be the ones that betray other slaves out just because they were out in the house kissing up to mass and everything. We have some people like that. We have some people like that in today's world. The Candace Owens of the world, the Jesse Lee Petersons. We have people like that would be turncoats to their own race. We have people like that. So yeah, we still have a few house Negroes in America today that still love massa and everything, even though they still getting beat and whipped and would be raped and sold if they ever got out of line too.
And if they don't think in a box the way that black people are supposed to think according to you, then they're Uncle Toms.
Well, I didn't say Uncle Tom for a reason.
If I believed in racism, I would say that sounds pretty racist, Jalin.
I didn't say Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom actually was one of the ones that helped people. Who you're thinking about is Sambo the dog.
Right.
Sambo
I know the story, but they called it Uncle Tom. You know what I'm
talking
about.
Called that an Uncle Tom, but that's misinformation.
I know.
I
know. That's because well, never mind, but
I'm glad we got onto the topic of some slavery because I was waiting on you to talk about slavery and civil rights because you said some things in your past. Let me do this Bible verse real quick. And it says from Acts 10:34, God does not show partiality or favoritism. I want to know your thoughts on that, because I thought you was going to bring up more of the Bible in your argument or anything. God does not show partiality or favoritism. He loves all his children. He loves all his creations.
I agree.
So what do you say about
I say that
and
proves racism doesn't exist. Thanks.
no
Thank
racism?
you for that verse that shows that racism doesn't exist, Jalin.
No, racism definitely does exist, idiot. Because
Oh.
excuse me, Joshua.
What race is God?
What? Jesus was a black man.
Okay.
If you want to say that, you know, Jesus was black.
He was probably gold and bronze. He probably looked like people from the Mediterranean region. He probably had bronze or brass colored skin, which is not black. It's golden.
You know, you got me thinking about this slave thing as I was about to transition and segue. Excuse me. If you had been a slave, would you have loved your slave master, sir? If they was whipping you and beating you and starving you, would you have loved your slave masters?
It depends on if they loved me, how they treated me.
By also whipping you.
But if I came from being chased by lions and getting hunted by my own race in Africa, and the possibility that I'm going to get shipped somewhere where they're going to castrate me, yeah, I would take getting shipped to America and living on a plantation and working some cotton fields. I would take that over the other option. And if I knew that in 200 years my family line was going to get to complain in America about all the inequalities, I would have definitely picked America.
Complain? It's not a complaint, sir, about inequalities. You have a very fair shot of doing things over me just because of your skin tone. I have to work twice as hard just being a black man. And then don't get me started on the disrespect of a black woman that she has to face, because a black woman is the most disrespected in all the races. And that's a proven fact. So do not get me started on that. Let's talk about a black woman, because recently what really sparked this conversation was when you disrespected Rosa Parks and you disrespected Martin Luther King. You disrespect all of these black heroes. I knew you was going to call him a communist. I knew it. So please explain yourself how Rosa Parks was a plan. Tell us everything about Claudette Colvin. Tell us everything about
Why do I need to tell you if you already know about it?
Okay, well, yeah, I'll tell people about it.
Let me tell the audience. Rosa Parks was a plant from the NAACP, and this was all set up. The bus thing was set up beforehand. It was Claudette Colvin who was supposed to be the one doing it, but she was 16 years old and she got pregnant. And back then, getting pregnant out of wedlock was very shameful. So they took her out of the movement. They put Rosa Parks in instead. And Rosa Parks got on the bus and said, I'm tired. I can't go to work no more. And it started this big thing. And what happened is a bunch of black-owned bus companies where only black people would ride, a bunch of black-owned businesses got shut down so that they could force integration, force people to be together who were naturally separated and naturally would have come together over time. It was already happening. But instead, they shut down all the black bus businesses so the white man could get more money. So that's why I would say systemic racism could exist, because it's fake. It's a forced thing that they force on us. It's an idea they put into us. When you're talking about black people have it the hardest, they have to work double hard. Not with affirmative action, not when it comes to getting into colleges, not with diversity hires. You guys get picked over more qualified people. To get into college, you have to score higher if you're white or Asian than a black person. So that's racist. If racism is real, I'll concede that systemic racism, fake racism, is forced on us by the people in power to make us hate each other and divide us.
So, more qualified. It can't just be over there. It can't just be that people work harder, that they have these great SAT scores.
No, you have to score less on the SAT than I do to get into the same college.
But no, because I'm black, they're automatically going to choose me, and I'm also not a more qualified person.
You're saying that more likely to choose you.
but you said more qualified, meaning there's a little bit of those words, those little connotations, sir. The more qualified that you can see in some of those definitions I said earlier. Yeah, I mean, you expose yourself a lot. She was also 15, by the way. She was 15. It was 9 months before Rosa Parks. She was 15 years old. And yes, she did it first. And a lot of people didn't know about her story until just a couple of years ago. But yes, Rosa Parks was one of the ones that still was a trailblazer for the Montgomery
Not
bus
just
boycott.
a couple years ago. This was never a secret. People just don't do their research. They get fed a line and they follow it. Rosa Parks is a hero. Rosa Parks is a hero. Rosa Parks was a plant doing her job.
Why is she and Claudette Colvin not heroes?
Why does Claudette Colvin not get any recognition? Why did
She did. She definitely has been, because now both of us are discussing her. There are news programs talking with Claudette Colvin, how she, after 66 years, because she was tried as like a delinquent, and that was expunged 66 years later. There's other videos where there's one lady who's 91 years old in this video was talking about how Rosa Parks stole the credit from Claudette Colvin. Like, people are learning more about this lady, so why can't we not stand up for both of them? They're both trailblazers. They both were still doing the right thing, which was saying, we are all human beings. Why do I have to sit right here while they get to sit up there and stuff? Why do we all have to be so segregated? They both deserve their flowers. They both deserve to stand up. So you want to call Rosa Parks a plant? No, she's not a plant. She was
the definition of a plant.
She definitely is not.
She was an activist who was installed into a movement to play a role, and she played the role, and now she's famous for it and called a hero. While the other girl who started it,
the only thing that I know that you even follow is Wikipedia. So we're not going to trust your words too often until you can give some
you keep saying
valid
that.
sources.
You keep saying that, but that's not true. I use all sorts of sources. I read the sources on my show. I go through multiple different sources.
Here right now, sir, you have a whole new audience of people here that's never seen your show.
This and you're lying, and you're lying to them, telling them I just do Wikipedia searches all day. That's not what I do.
Well, I'm just going off what you said, sir. I'm just going off what.
Let's see. I have Oxford definitions. I have Encyclopedia Britannica. I've got a whole list of sources here for stuff that I'm talking about. I've got one Wikipedia article. I've got Pfizer.com, Google, Essence Magazine, 10 black celebrities who said racism doesn't exist. Lil Wayne, Morgan Freeman. So
please tell me those people. Who are these 10 people? Because I forgot you said some about.
I didn't want to touch on all of them, but really I just like to I like what Lil Wayne said. He said racism doesn't exist because a white cop saved his life, and he respects white officers because he wouldn't be here without them. He said that when he goes to a concert, it's all white people in the audience, and they said, what does that mean to you? And he says, that's clearly a sign that racism doesn't exist.
Okay, I'll give a rebuttal of that. I love that he said that.
Morgan Freeman said, they said, how do we end racism? He said, you stop calling me a black man, and I'll stop calling you a white man, and then racism doesn't exist anymore.
How do you feel about Morgan Freeman and he's an atheist, Mr. Christian Man?
I don't know if that, I don't really care, but I don't know how that's relevant, but I don't know if that's true either, because I've seen a lot of his shows about God and the afterlife and stuff, so I don't know that you're right about that. But you might be.
God. You've seen him play God. He's actually an atheist. And Lil Wayne got his start.
I heard that he might actually be playing the devil in Bruce Almighty. That Morgan Freeman is actually not. Anyway, this is way off topic.
Can't delve into that. Another topic for one of your other shows. We can't delve into that. We only got about 30 minutes left. Okay. And there's still some more I want to get in that I want to touch.
All right.
Who are these 10 celebrities?
This is just something I was just trying to find quotes of Lil Wayne, but it says Zoe Saldana said there's no such thing as people of color. Stacey Dash.
Yep.
said Black History Month shouldn't exist. Lil Wayne, Raven
We don't
Simone.
claim, by the way. We still claim Zoe Zeldana because she had to apologize for when she was playing Nina Simone and how, colorism, she was facing a lot of colorism attacks on that. There's that ism word again. A lot of colorism attacks for playing Nina Simone in that movie that didn't do that well, and she had to apologize for it. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I do want to know these 10 celebrities.
Pharrell said the new black dreams and realizes that it's not pigmentation, it's a mentality. It's either going to work for you or it's going to work against you, right? It's not about skin color, it's about your ideology. And that's my biggest thing is it's not about what people look like, it's about what they think and what they believe and how they act and the things they do. That's way more important. I will get along more with a black guy who's a Christian conservative, loves America, loves our culture, loves our food, speaks our language, doesn't complain about oppression and blah, 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 all the Marxist stuff. I'll be best friends with that guy. Meanwhile, if my other neighbor is some pink-haired liberal lesbian, then I'm gonna try to, stay away from them. It's not racism. It's if discrimination is real. Culturalism. I believe in culturalism. There's certain cultures that I don't like. I don't like their culture. I don't like their way of life. I don't like their beliefs. So culturalism, I'll agree that's real.
What cultures do you not like?
Anything that worships Satan or devils, does child sacrifices, all sorts of. I'm not gonna go through the list. I don't like any cultures except American culture.
America, such an America.
Currently, I don't like a lot of American culture.
We are delving, and again, we do have like 30 minutes left, and there's some more questions that I want to talk to you about. The Pharrell thing sort of just messed me up. I didn't know Pharrell wasn't on our side anymore.
Well, he backtracked later when he came under fire for saying that. A lot of these people, they said stuff, and then social media jumped on them, so freaked out, and they backtracked and they apologized. So you'd be happy to hear that.
What are some of your opinions on interracial marriages?
Well, I'm married to a Guatemalan, right?
Yeah, and I'm asking because have y'all ever faced any discrimination because you're in an interracial relationship?
No, I don't care, but I don't really care about that. But I think it's natural for most people to want to marry within their own race because you want your kids to look like you. It's more natural. Now, the way the world is and society is, white girls is crazy. and some of these Asian and Latino women are way more based and they're way more feminine and they're way more traditional. And I like that. And since I don't believe in racism, I'm okay with people. But now what I have a problem with is when a lot of times it comes from hatred of the mother. It's some like Freudian, you hate yourself, you hate your own race. So you're looking for the opposite of what your mom was. And so you're just, or it's to piss off your parents. Your parents don't like it's a lot of times there's anger behind it. And I don't think that's a good reason to do that. I think you should just find the person you love, and it doesn't matter what race they are.
I think some of your answers, you're not trying to gain any new fans with your answers, like white women are crazy or different things like that. But no, I feel also when it comes to children, if you love somebody, you should just want them to be happy. You shouldn't care what they look like, what your children might look like. You should care that they're going to be healthy, that they're going to be happy, be in prayer, have success. That's what you should care about. You shouldn't really care if their family line looks like yours, because in the end, they're still going to have your blood. But I could be wrong. I don't think I am on that one. but that's what I feel. I do feel that. I wanted to also ask you about the amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments. And then if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask me, and I'll try to give my best answers on different things.
So you talking about the one that got rid of slavery but turned people into prison slaves instead?
Prison slaves. So yes, the 13th Amendment. Did I disappear? Hold on. The 15th Amendment all deal with slavery. The 15th Amendment is the one that gave us the right to vote and everything. The 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment, I need to look at my...
Oh, Jalin, you disappeared. Or is that what he meant by I have to look at my notes?
He's pulling up his notes, and they're probably on his phone, so he's...
Yeah, the 13th freed slaves, 14th Amendment gave full citizenship for us, and the 15th Amendment for us, for all of us. And the 15th Amendment...
14th also has the insurrection clause. There's a lot of other stuff in there, too. But yeah, mainly, I think you're focused on the 13th. 13th Amendment, 3 strikes. Made a left when I should have made a right. Told God next time on sight. You never heard that song? That's Kanye. Anyway.
Oh, another one for your argument. Kanye.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's on that list too.
No, Kanye.
I didn't name him when I was going through the list because he's
right. We talked about a different way because Kanye's definitely in a sunken place. Kanye's in a sunken place, but he's got a lot more going on than just being in a sunken place. So we continue to pray for Kanye on every level.
But anyway, so the 13th Amendment, I don't think that they ever ended slavery. I think they made everybody a slave. We're all slaves to taxes. I said that earlier. Debt slaves. We're all debt slaves. And even if you're not a slave to the world, biblically, since you're a Christian, you know that we're slaves to either good or evil. We're always slaves. Even when you're free indeed, you're still a slave to God.
I have a question.
Yes,
is
sir.
Slavery and racism the same thing? Because I don't think it is.
No, that was my whole beginning part in my opening is to show that the worst examples people give for racism usually weren't about race. And
slavery. That's what you say up.
Yeah, is slavery racism if Koreans are enslaving Koreans and black people are enslaving black people and white people have enslaved white people? How is that racist? But you said I guess you already answered that because you said you could be racist. Excuse me. You could be racist to your own race, which...
Yeah, it's part of some of the levels of racism that I was telling you about. You can have internalized racism, self-hatred. You know, like some of those people on that list that she was bringing up. Some of the people like the Jesse Lee Petersons of the world who you like to follow.
But if a person hates themselves, you think they hate their skin color first and foremost? Is that the root of their hatred?
No, just to quote somebody that you and I both know, Jesse Lee Peterson, he's a black man that doesn't identify as black. That's self-hatred. He also talks a lot of bad stuff about Michelle Obama and any other black good person.
So did Raven Simone. Raven Simone said she looked like an ape.
What did Raven Simone never said that?
I know you like that so Raven. I know you like that so Raven.
I can tell everything about Raven Simone. Raven Simone never said anything about that. What Raven Simone said and
Raven Simone has criticized blacks.
Race.
Hold on.
She made a mistake saying he was from every continent.
You know what Raven did? You know what Raven did? Raven criticized black sounding names and called herself colorless and defended.
Oh yeah, I know. You think I don't know about the whole watermelon Drea thing? She was going through things, and that was another thing that
she was going through a thing.
she said some stupid things. Don't get me wrong. Raven Simone, Christina Perlman has said some stupid things that she has apologized for, that she realized was stupid. But yeah, the whole Watermelon Drea thing.
I don't
when
think
she,
I think she said something really based because she was thinking for herself for once in her life, and then the social media and her handlers told her, you gotta retract that. You can't say that.
no, she thinks more for herself now. Her being a free lesbian with her wife Miranda, she is very free now. I knew you've been studying me, sir. I knew it because in some of your streams you was bringing up Barney, and now you're bringing up Raven Simone. You brought up the
No, I brought up Barney because I didn't look into your
and I'm
childhood.
I'm glad you did. Study your opponent. But yes, if we're going to talk about Raven Simone is also somebody that very much claims how much of a black woman she is. And that can be said in 2024 in interviews. Raven Simone is still one of the highest paid black actresses, especially from Disney, has had so much success from Disney Channel alone, spending it over.
All right, we don't need the history of Raven Simone.
But I'm just saying that's some black history for you.
Here's some black history. Who was the first millionaire woman in America?
Madam C.J. Walker. What are you talking about?
What race was she?
She's a black woman.
Right. So the first millionaire woman in America was a black woman. What year?
Like 1914, 1915.
So in the 1915s, the first millionaire woman in America was a black woman. But racism makes it so hard for the oppressed black people, even though the first woman who was a millionaire in America was a black woman in 1914.
Yeah, because you know what she had to go through before that? Because in 1895, she had to deal with things like separate but equal. She also had to deal with many years later, if her wealth was still going to be there, she would have had to deal with 1921, how all the blacks and stuff that were coming up had to deal with like that.
What about our first half black president?
The first black president.
The first half black president.
First black president.
Abraham
Barack
Lincoln.
Hussein Obama.
No, Abraham Lincoln.
What about Barack Hussein Obama?
Abraham Lincoln was the first half black president. You didn't know that?
Oh, you're an ignorant little thing, ain't you? You are an ignorant little thing. You are ignorant.
I've heard stories.
Think about one of the greatest presidents ever, Barack Hussein Obama. What you think about him? Don't you love him?
I think he was a horrible president, but he helped prove that racism doesn't exist.
Oh, that's a lie and a half. He faced more scrutiny. Him, Michelle, Sasha, and Malia faced more scrutiny than anybody else, and they all was
more
there
than
for
Trump.
They were there for 8 years with no type of curses or any type of like travesties going on for them. They left that house squeaky clean, but still face the most scrutiny because of the color of their skin. And you say racism doesn't exist. That's crazy and it's insane.
I think Donald Trump faces a lot more scrutiny than Barack Obama, and he's white.
Donald Trump don't care about people. Donald Trump don't like nobody, but you're still going to vote. You're a poor white, but you're still going to vote body that doesn't want to help you.
That's irrelevant. So there's the majority of sports players are black and they're rich. Actors, entertainers, all sorts of. In Europe right now, you can't even get into media. I think something like 35% of the media is black, but they only make up like 4% of the population. So yeah, the numbers are definitely skewed in your favor, especially nowadays with DEI and you were talking about CRT. So
yeah, I was waiting.
That's why
critical
racism.
Race theory.
That's why racism exists, because we teach kids from a young age to hate themselves. You are inherently racist. You're the white devil because you were born white, and black people are dumber and they're supposed to be Democrats and think a certain way. That's what CRT teaches you.
No, what CRT, critical race theory teaches is, just a little bit about Black history, the same way that we learn about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. That's also American history, to learn about people like Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Thurgood Marshall, Martin Luther King, the Little Rock Nine, who you once referred to as no one cares about the Arkansas Nine. And
No,
I'm from Little Rock.
I don't know
went
about
to
the Little Rock Nine. I know about the Central Park Six.
the Central
Or
Park
Central
Five,
Park Five.
but who you call
Rapists.
yeah, you call them rapists. You call those boys who were young boys who were falsely accused
Gangsters. Gangsters who ganged up on a woman in Central Park and raped her.
They didn't do that. They did not do that.
Yes, they did. They admitted to it, to a black officer.
I want the audience to also recognize how you said you don't care or know about the Little Rock Nine. I want the audience to know that, and then I'm going to give you a brief education about them.
I do know about it because you had me look it up before, but I can't remember it.
Yes. Thankfully, because, Brown versus the Board of Education helped to integrate schools with the beautiful Ruby Bridges back in 1954, and she was the only student in the first grade in her class because all the white students pulled their kids out. But in 1957, in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I'm broadcasting from now, there were 9 Black students that were courageous enough to integrate Little Rock Central High, not for so many big reasons other than they just wanted a proper education, because at some of their schools like Horace Mann and Dunbar, where they were going, they weren't getting proper books and stuff. You were able to go to a white school and actually have just proper education, and people were still beating them up over that. Former Governor Orville Faubus was all the way against them, and the Dwight D. Eisenhower, the president at that time, had to call the 101st Airborne just to protect these children. These children, Black children, were being ridiculed and everything. So it's also very insulting for you to say you don't care about the Little Rock Nine, and that's also something that people like you're trying to erase in the critical race theory. You're trying to erase history that is a little bit more embarrassing for some of your grandparents and your ancestors, because y'all are some of the ones that caused a lot of this division and hatred in the world.
I think the civil rights movement was the worst thing that ever happened to Black people. Forced integration was a mistake. People would have naturally integrated by themselves. By government forcing that to happen, it caused problems, and they made us hate each other.
So what's wrong with equal rights? Let's just, outside of just looking at a paper, what's wrong with equal rights?
And wait till you hear about what I think about the Tulsa Massacre. Well, it's not the Tulsa Massacre, the Tulsa riots.
Talk about equal rights real quick. Like, we understand that happened, but talk about equal rights. What's wrong with us being integrated? There's nothing wrong with the civil rights.
It's a false Marxist idea. There's no such thing as egalitarianism. No two people are equal. We're all different. You can't make laws to make a race be equal to another race.
Ancestors, you never had to see them being beat down in hoses and stuff. You never had to see that footage, and I hope you never do. I hope you never do. I don't think any human learned a lot of things that were going on.
Are there any laws?
Hold on, Jalin. Hold on, Jalin.
Well, you're roboting anyway. You're starting to robot anyway.
Hold on, Steve.
Okay.
Are there any current existing laws?
Quick. You guys talk. Do some plugs for a second. I'm sorry, Jalin. I gotta run to get my door real quick.
That's fine. Okay. I got you. Steve.
Are there any existing laws to what you were just talking about that are racist or against anyone of color that doesn't make them equal? Is there a law that doesn't make anyone that is not, of color? Because I can't think of any. As far as I'm concerned, everyone has.
Well, let me talk about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. That I don't feel like that's
current.
Yeah, but that's the current thing. The Voting Rights Act, it's still a current thing. I don't feel that's equal for Black people, because an act can easily be reversed.
Sorry, that was
if it was an actual law then we would have forever the right to vote. But we only have the Voting Rights Act. And at any moment, somebody like a president, Congress could try to reverse that act and take away the right for people to vote, for people like me to vote. So yeah, that's one. You asked for one, so that's the one I'm thinking of.
Huh.
Are there any?
You're
We
asking
do
for
need to move on.
examples of racist laws. You're asking.
Yes.
Affirmative action.
Oh, shut up. Affirmative action is not
CRT
racist.
policies. I got some questions for you before we go to closings and all that.
Okay.
I asked you earlier, what race is God?
What I say, Jesus is black. God is all racist.
The Father. What race is the Father?
Jehovah Jireh is all racist because he created us all.
Well,
he created us all.
Hopefully he doesn't have interpersonal racism because he's going to hate all the races.
Well, God doesn't hate. His children sometimes hate. They falter, but thankfully God loves all.
It says he loves the sinner and he hates the sin. It says that God hates a lot of things in the Bible.
I answered your question. What's your other one?
Will there be different races in heaven? When we go to heaven, will we still be different races?
I believe so. I believe some of my friends who I passed on that are different races, I'm going to see them in heaven. I'm going to see my granny when I get up to heaven. I believe we're actually going to be unified in that. It's the same way as in like churches and stuff. Churches, we all worship differently, but that's not a racist thing. We just all have different ways of worship and everything. Yes, I'll enjoy going to a Caucasian church, but I love going to my church, hearing like the gospel music and seeing the way that we praise and worship as opposed to others. That's what the beauty of different cultures are, something you insulted earlier. What else you got?
So I don't think God is any race because I don't think race is real. I think it's a concept that we made up here on earth to divide each other. So I don't think God is a race. I don't think we'll have any races in heaven. We'll just be basically beings of light, and God is the light. Light is raceless. Last thing I asked you earlier, is racism a subjective metric or is it objective? Is it the same no matter who you ask or where you go, or does it change? Is it fluid? Does it change with each person in each place?
Well, when I was doing a poll and preparing for this debate, I asked so many people, does racism exist? And outside of your audience, most people said yes. So I would say if it's subjective or objective, I would say that's my answer.
You didn't answer.
Racism definitely. Is it subjective or objective?
Yeah.
I think
Is it a set standard that applies to everybody in the world the same way? Or is it different depending on where you're at and who you're talking to?
I think it's in talking to you, I'm learning that it's different, but I also think you're ignorant and I don't respect you. But if I'm talking to like a normal, sane person, I think it's still like set in stone that racism exists, that like no matter who you are, black, white, whatever color you are, racism still exists. I think that's something that I've proved tonight.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're sticking to your guns, because if you would have said it's subjective, then I would have said you can't tell me that I'm wrong, that it doesn't exist. But okay, you're being consistent. You just think I'm wrong, and anybody who thinks like me is wrong.
I do. Sincerely, I do. Without trying to be disrespectful, I think you're not good for America or this world, because a lot of the things that you say and a lot of things that I've heard you say in the past, you're a detriment to this world. And I think you're very dangerous because you have a lot of followers. You have over 4,000 followers on YouTube alone, and people can hear your words, and that could easily start even more of a race war, even more hatred. And that's why I'm wearing this cross, because I'm openly going to always be honest about how much of a Christian I am. And no offense, but I don't think you are a Christian, and I don't think you're a good person. You're an entertaining YouTuber, but I don't think you're a good person for America or this world.
Well, no man is good, only God is good. And if you're judging my heart, judging me as a Christian, I think that shows your mistakes. But what was I about to say? You threw me off with that. You're not a Christian at the end there. One real quick, Steve. How am I sowing the divide when I'm saying racism doesn't exist? I'm trying to end that division and have us all be American brothers and sisters under Christ in America. I'm saying if you don't believe in ghosts, you'll never see a ghost. But if you believe in ghosts, you'll see a ghost in every freaking dark alleyway. So you believe in the ghost of racism and you see it everywhere. You're sowing the division. Your Marxist ideas that have been fed to you since the 60s, since the civil rights movement, it's been communism seeping over into America. And yeah, Martin Luther King was a socialist. He wrote about it. He was very openly, he would have been marching with BLM if he was alive during that stuff. He would have been burning down buildings too.
Black Lives Matters is a good thing. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
And
Jalen, here's a question from James in the chat.
Can I get
will heaven match the racial demographics?
It's one response real quick, Steve. Yeah, it's not just from the 60s, sir. It's because my parents were both born in the 50s, and my granny, who I just mentioned, was born in 1921. But it's also just so many things of this black, beautiful, melanated skin that I still have to stand up for. All right, what's the question, Steve?
Will heaven match the racial demographics of the USA?
Will heaven match? Probably, yes. I think that's what Josh just asked. Will heaven match it? I think there will be all types of different races in heaven, the same way it is on this earth, as long as you're a Christian and a believer. Yes.
Yeah. Is Judaism a race? Jews? Is that a race?
It's a religion, but there are also ethnic people that are Jews, so that makes the Holocaust racist. It was a horrible genocide that I would never want to even bring up in my argument to try to bring up if something if like racism doesn't exist, but then you bring that up. So yeah, Judaism is a religion and it's ethnically a race. Yes.
Is some guy from Spain in Europe, if he moves to America, and then some guy from Mexico moves to America, they're both Hispanic. Are they the same race?
No, because they're from different countries. One's from Spain, one's from Mexico.
But that's nationality, not race.
Okay, well,
you see how convoluted this all is? Ethnicity, nationality, race. All these words are just different words to divide us that really don't mean much.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration. It's not a division. It's a celebration. You, sir, are a white man. Your wife is a beautiful Guatemalan woman. It's a celebration of different worlds and everything. We can all be different. There's the thing that we can all still love because we all still bleed the same. So why do we have to have hatred and division? Why does racism have to exist?
Because people like you still believe in it.
Yeah, because you said it's a ghost. You said it's a ghost when we've seen racist antics still happening with George Floyd, with Trayvon Martin, with Ahmaud Arbery, with Breonna Taylor.
Man, we don't have time to go into all of those.
Yes, I'm going to bring up the names. You mean
Trayvon Martin, who was attacking George Zimmerman? You mean Ahmaud Arbery, who was stealing stuff in a neighborhood and tried to take a gun from a guy's hands when he was trying to citizens arrest him? You mean George Floyd, who was high on drugs?
George Zimmerman should not still be alive today. George Zimmerman killed that child. He should not be free.
In self-defense.
Trying to sue Sabrina, Trayvon's mother and stuff. Forget George Zimmerman.
You know they changed the laws in Georgia after the McMichaels shot Ahmaud Arbery. They changed the citizens arrest laws because he was committing a felony. They called the police, they called a lawyer, and then they followed him, and then they tried to do a citizen's arrest to stop him and that was all legal. But after that happened, because he tried to take the gun from his hands and they shot him, after that happened, they changed the laws to get rid of citizens arrest laws.
He was just jogging. He was the same age as me. He was just jogging. But because the color of his skin, all of a sudden he's a threat.
Derek Chauvin died from a drug overdose, and those cops were doing their training. They called they put him in the car. What'd I say?
Derek Chauvin.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin should be dead for killing an innocent man. He didn't deserve
innocent
to
man.
die.
He was committing a crime, and then he was on drugs, and he was resisting arrest.
He deserved to die over a falsified $20
They should have
bill.
They should have never taken him out of that car.
Like, it was only over a $20 bill. They said it was
No.
a false $20 bill, and now all of a
He
sudden
died because he had done
life.
a bunch of drugs. He had swallowed a bunch of fentanyl and meth. And
But he died because there was a knee on his
He died
neck.
from excited delirium from cardiac arrest. The first autopsy showed that. Then they brought in a private medical examiner to do another autopsy, and this came out in court. I've covered the court documents.
For over 5 minutes, you're more than likely going to die. And he was being choked with Chauvin's knee on that man's neck.
Shoulder blade.
The whole world saw it, and you still want to call it false.
All right, hold on.
I'm not sure what the whole world seen, but I know the whole world was divided on what they seen with that. And I'm going to jump in on this one because for the other stuff, that's between you guys. I wasn't going to put my opinion in there. But this, people seen what they seen on what they watch. So people were shown different things on that. And I've seen both sides of it. And I have to agree with Josh on that. It's one of those things where people are going to believe what they want to believe. They want it to be that it was a knee on the neck. They want it to believe that it was drug overdose. And they even let him out of the cop car like twice or something. And don't quote me on exactly what happened, but along the lines of let him out because he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. They're trying.
He was saying, I can't breathe before they even had a knee on him. He was saying, I can't breathe in the cop car. And they took him out of the cop car and laid him down and called the medics so that he could breathe. They called the medics way before he died at the hospital later. He didn't die from choking on the ground when they had their knee on his neck gently with their hands in their pockets chilling.
He was pronounced.
And the truth is out there, if you deep dive and look for it, you'll find it, and it's actual proof, not just
there's a court case right now. There's a court case right now. A woman is suing the medical examiner because he told her she had to say that it was asphyxiation because the media would end their careers if they didn't. That's a court case that's open right now, Jalin.
I would like to see this case. Can I ask you both
go back
this?
and watch my show. You'll find
it's all freedom of information.
I want
it's available to the public.
Did that man deserve a knee on his neck? Did that man deserve a knee on his neck?
Yeah, he was resisting arrest and freaking out and excited delirium because he ate a bunch of drugs.
He was already
and
arrested.
Also, most people's opinion is formed off of a short clip they saw on the news and what the news reporter told them to believe. Most people didn't go into it and watch all the lead-up videos and all the other angles and all the. There's lots more. There's lots more than 9 minutes of footage.
And we watched the man die. Even though y'all claim he died later at the hospital. We watched the man die, and I'm standing on that. Not dying on that.
That may be what CNN told everyone to believe.
It's not.
But if you deep dive into it and think with an open mind and actually research the facts, you'll see.
Then it makes you wonder why would somebody kill a man like that? And that man was screaming for his mother. That man was in pain. At some point, they should have known that they were going too far, but they kept killing that man, and now we still have people.
Their hands were in their pockets. They were just resting.
that man killed himself when he swallowed all that fentanyl.
Yeah,
y'all made sure. I need to.
You know, while he was on the ground and they were kneeling on him, he was lifting them up into the air multiple times. He was struggling. He's a big guy, and they're three little guys, and they're resting on. Did you see Steven Crowder do a reenactment of it? Where he had three people that weighed more than the three officers, and he laid down on the ground, and they kneeled on his neck just in the exact same manner that those officers did for 10 minutes. And he did his show while they were on him. He was talking to the camera. He's on the ground. And he's like, yeah, you know, it kind of hurts. It's kind of irritating my shoulder, but I'm all right. And George Floyd was bigger than Steven Crowder.
This is why I'm glad that this.
And don't get me wrong, Jalin, because I'm against. I think police are. I don't think there's a such good thing as a good cop. So don't get me wrong.
I think me and Steve.
But when it comes to that, it was not the cop's fault on that.
And it's also irrelevant. It's not about race, unless you think that those cops,
well, yeah,
an Asian cop and a white guy, they just hated him because he was black, so they murdered him in cold blood on the street. That's what you think happened,
right. And that's what it comes down to. The whole race part. It had nothing to do with. I mean, you're dealing with a guy that just spent a counterfeit $20 bill, has a violent history, and none of that has to do with the color of his skin. It's his character.
And he doesn't want to go back to jail. Was he on his third strike or something? Like, a lot of these guys know that if they go back to jail again, they're done. So they fight.
Do y'all ever stand up for what's right? Because it would be hard pressed for me to believe that y'all do after hearing what y'all are saying. Do y'all stand up for what's right? Or do y'all just want to say, oh no, this is what the media is going to teach. This is what the media
is I don't want it to be a tag team against you, Jalin. So just me.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm going to back down. I just had to say something about that one thing, but I'm going to shut up again and let you guys.
I think I'm standing up for what's right. And I think you're going along with a narrative that sows more division and makes people angrier and causes problems. I think if you were standing up for what's right, you'd say, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it what it is and not what it's not.
I wouldn't want that to happen to you all. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that would happen to you all. I wouldn't want that to.
Well, should we go into closing statements?
If a white man doesn't comply, the same thing happens, and I've seen plenty of videos to prove that.
Well,
do we have any more questions?
We could do. I don't have any more questions for you. We could do closing statements and then do audience questions, and then if anybody wants to, Steve can put his link, and if anybody wants to jump in and ask questions, we could do that.
Okay, we can do. I'm okay with doing the closing and the audience questions. I'm still leaving soon, but yeah, I'll go ahead and do my closing. All right. So, all in all, we learned tonight that racism definitely doesn't exist in Josh's eyes. However, for most people, it does. If you listen to his words, it's a proven thing that he is a racist. He believes a lot of things and he has a lot of hatred in his heart. And again, I'm having to hear this after the heels of the whole George Floyd conversation. What I say to both Steve and Joshua and people that may think like them, that is a little bit different than me, is always try to find the opportunity for love, because there's way too much hatred in this world. We see that just in this conversation alone. In 2024, we have to have this conversation. Does racism exist in 2024? And in conclusion, yes, it does. If there's not enough evidence from what we shared in our opening arguments and listening to this stream, yes, racism exists.
Okay. My closing will be short and sweet. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The only way to end racism is to see it for what it is, a lie made up by the rulers of the darkness of this world, in order to anger, divide, and ultimately conquer what Karl Marx called useful idiots. I learned to think this way from wise black people. I used to believe racism was real all my life. Growing up as a kid, racism definitely real. Till I started hearing black people who thought for themselves, like JLP, like Larry Elder, Clarence Thomas, Thomas Sowell, Even Lil Wayne, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington said it. Whoopi Goldberg, even the most I don't like Whoopi Goldberg, but the most base thing she ever said is the H cost was not about race, because it wasn't. And so the only way we're going to overcome this is, like you said, with love. And you don't love by having division. There aren't different races in heaven. God is not all the races or any race. God doesn't care about race. There's no Bible justification you can find that talks about racism or why we need to. There's tribalism. There's different tribes have different laws, and different groups separate because they have different ideas and they fight with each other and all that stuff. Tribalism, culturalism, these things, I might tell you, yeah, that's real. But race isn't even a consistent idea. It's not. I've shown that. You can't argue with it. You didn't make any good rebuttals for why a Hispanic person could be from Europe, or it's not about where you're from. It's just what you look like. And all of that is determined by the amount of sunlight and where you are based on the climate. You can Google what determines pigment and melanin. It's DNA, it's melatonin, which comes from the amount of sunlight and the climate. You can take a person from Alaska who's very pale as a child, and you can move them to Africa. In one generation, by the time they die, they will be a darker skin tone because of the sunlight. In multiple generations, they'll get darker and darker and darker. Racism is just determined by the amount of sun you get. Or race is just determined by the amount of sun you get, the amount of time you lived in a certain region. And so it's unimportant, it's arbitrary, it's inconsistent, it's illogical, all that stuff. I think I am showing love by being honest with Black people like yourself, Jalin, to get out of this mindset, because it's all plot. It's a scheme to control people and make them angry and dumb them down, demoralize them, divide us so they can conquer us. And you're playing right into the enemy's hand. So that's all I got to say.
All right, let's do our questions, Steve. Let's do our questions.
Well, Alex wants to know if a blind person can be racist.
Like what's his name? Dave Chappelle, Cletus, or
from the first
Oh,
season.
that was a great skit.
the white KKK guy.
Yeah, the black KKK.
Yeah.
He later divorced his wife because he said she's a N-word lover.
N-lover.
N-word lover. And I love that you said that on this stream, an N-word lover.
We didn't even get into that. I thought you were going to go with the mean words argument. People say the N-word. I never asked you for an example of personal racism that you felt.
I know your words were going to expose yourself already. Look at you. You're the one that even is bringing this up. Your words expose yourself.
Because I was ready to go into the history of the N-word. NGR was God. NGR, Egyptian, that was a god. Negus is Ethiopian black royalty. And then that word, Negro, comes from Latin. It means black. And then every language is just a different dialect. Southern people say Negro a certain way, and it sounds like another word, and then you get hard R's in some places with some dialects. That's all it is. It just means black.
It doesn't mean black, what you are considering. And the word that I'm surprised you're not saying is the definition, and that is an ignorant fool, something that you definitely are. You were so ready for that N-word conversation. Like I said,
I thought it was going to go there at some point, but I wanted to.
You keep exposing yourself. I don't have to do the work. I'm going to tell you something my father said. He says, when you argue with the fool, what's the point in arguing with the fool? Because they're not going to learn nothing anyways. So, I mean, this is just, I chose to do this. I'm the one that challenged you. I'm the one that's choosing to listen to you. Only because I feel like you need to be exposed more. More people like you need to be exposed more and canceled.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you guys. Are you racist?
If racism is real, I'm a racist.
I knew I'll win the debate. I win the debate.
No, because that's not what the debate is over. Is not over, am I racist? It's over, is racism real? I don't think it's real, so no, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
But if it is real, Then I am.
What about you, Jalin?
I think I've tried not to have racist tendencies or anything. I think I'm more of a universal person where I don't like certain individuals. It's never because of their race, identity, religion, or anything. It's because about that individual human. So no, I'm not a racist.
I agree with personally. That's me. I don't judge someone by the color of their skin. I judge them by the character. If they're an asshole, they're an asshole, not because
I don't either,
of the
to be
color of their
clear.
skin.
But I do make jokes and stereotype, and I make jokes. I don't think it's racist to say black people can't swim. I think that's funny.
That's it. That's ignorant. You're ignorant.
But it's
you also
in
No,
general,
just
it's kind
comedy.
of true. It's kind of true.
I'm a great swimmer.
Well, do you know 3 times as many black children die from drowning as white children?
Oh my God.
So
oh my God.
Statistically, I'm just telling the truth, and it's a funny joke. But stereotypes a lot of times are real, and it's not always. But if you said white people can't dance, I'd kind of laugh and be like, yeah, you're kind of right about that. I try to dance.
Right.
But it's kind of true. That's not racist. Seeing that people who look a certain way might act a certain way in general, on average, is not racist.
What else we got,
But
Steve?
I think Jalen's more racist than I am because he believes in racism.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, why do you think I'm racist? But then again,
I can't be racist because I don't believe it's real. That's like you saying. That's like if I said I don't believe Jesus is real and you call me a Christian.
No,
I don't believe racism is real, but you call me a racist. That doesn't make any sense. I don't even believe it's a real thing. How can I be something I don't believe in?
You are an idiot. You are an imbecile. You are just so many.
Oh, was that an accident? You dropped down.
I'm uneducated.
Well, if anyone, I have the link pinned if anyone wants to come up and actually ask a question or just drop it in the chat.
I'm trying to see if I can drop it to my chat. How many people you got over there, Steve? I had 30 people at one point.
We had like 38 a little bit ago, but now we're at 33.
Nice. I'm trying to get your link so I can drop it in my chat.
Josh,
here, I can just go and drop it in. I can drop it in yours.
Okay.
There we go. Should be in your chat.
Cool. Yeah, if anybody wants to jump in and ask questions. Otherwise, are there any more questions in the chats? I'm gonna scroll through mine and see if I can find.
I'm waiting 5 minutes of questions and then I am done because it was supposed to be an hour and a half. I am willing to do 5 more minutes of any question.
Somebody in my chat said that I only wanted to bring up the N-word because I wanted to dance around it like a racist.
Who said that?
Like someone put white people smell like balagna.
No, that's rude. That's rude to say that. That's rude. See, now
JM
that's the
Unleashed.
thing.
What's up, JM?
Hey guys, good to see you.
Hello.
I think this is it was mentioned earlier in here. It's a highly charged topic, and I think that you guys have sort of moderated it pretty well. One thing I wanted to mention as far as doing a debate like this, just for fine tuning, my suggestion would be never attack or insult the other side of the debate. Always attack or insult their argument or their stance. To say you are this or you are that, I think it's presumptuous. But to say what you're saying is, for example, idiotic, right? I think it is much cleaner energy than to say you're an idiot. If you follow my meaning,
I agree.
Then beyond that, I just wanted to quick weigh in. Go ahead.
I'll let come out on that. I'm not going to apologize for that. I tried not to go into the name calling, but I did get emotionally charged up. However, I'm not going to mince my words and apologize for my truth.
Yep. No, I totally appreciate that, and I think that overall you guys are pretty respectful, especially considering that obviously you're passionate about your position. And it's opposing sides. So there was that, but I also wanted to just emphasize I'm confident that the majority of these isms that we've mentioned are man-made, and we kind of discovered that by talking about geographic boundaries and then even interracial marriages. Like, what do you say? Is racism transitory? Like if I'm speaking with someone that's mulatto, for example, my brother is white, but he married a dark girl, right? Um, and I fully believe that it's a great thing for genetic diversity. If you look at Amish communities and whatnot, they start having problems with inbreeding.
Mhm.
They do very, very well to go way outside of their community, to get the genetics going. But
Yeah.
that was
That's
it. I don't think that God sees different races at all. I think that Jesus was pretty clear about that too. He loved everybody. We're taught to love even our enemies. Um, and that was it. I don't want to monopolize this, but I just wanted to share those few thoughts.
yeah.
Yes, sir. To the caller, do you think it's okay to call your sister-in-law a dark girl like that, or could she not just be a human or something kinder?
I think he called her mulatto, which is not politically correct, but
Well, they're children, yeah. And I'm not really a politically correct speaker.
I'm fine with that.
And he's in Canada.
Yeah, I was born in
So-
the 70s, so my apologies for that. I was going to say, she's black, but she's not, because she's actually, her mom was African and her dad was Scottish. So,
So she's
but she's dark.
Yeah.
To say she's black would be wrong, but
biracial. She's mixed race.
okay.
But
Yeah, terminology, I stumble on that a bit. I appreciate that.
I like what
Yes,
you
sir.
said about the Amish people, because there's a lot of like white nationalist types. I don't like them. I'm not a Wignat, but they want like an ethno state and a pure one race nation or whatever. That's impossible to have without incest at some point. Like you're gonna have to start breeding with, if all you have is this group of people and you're growing your community within there, then that's where it starts getting weird. And um yeah, I don't have a problem. And also the races are so mixed, especially in America. There really is, you can't tell what race somebody is. That was one of my whole points, that it's inconsistent, because you don't know really what race somebody is. They could be mixed with 4 different races, and it's just a bunch of, it's all made up. You're right. It's just like a social construct.
Well, Jalin, real quick, Lucky Burrito has a question for you too. Is please ask Jalin about white people wearing dreads or locks, and why is it a problem for you? Oh, you're muted. I think you're muted. No,
Hear
there
me?
you go. Yep.
Okay. White people wearing dreads and locks. It's cultural appropriation.
Oh my
It's
god.
cultural, and it's very much racist and stuff. Joshua, I know
Is it cultural appropriation if a black girl straightens her hair? Or has like a
Madam
blonde wig, like a Nicki Minaj?
work about Madam C. Walker, and she created the straightening cones. People are going
Good.
So she
No,
became a millionaire
here's
off of
another
cultural
comment.
appropriation.
cones.
Jalin,
But yeah,
here's another comment from Lucky from an hour ago. It says you sound ethnicist, bringing up the hairstyle that is absolutely worn by light-skinned people. Look at the Vikings.
Yeah, he doesn't know the history.
So we're going back, way back.
Every
And then she says she has locks in her hair like her Viking ancestors also did, and dreads don't belong to one group of people.
Here,
yeah, I
Lucky,
mean,
people
get mad about people wearing cornrows and stuff that are different.
This is for you, Lucky. We're gonna take the dreads down. We're gonna culturally appropriate today.
Culturally appropriation at its finest.
Jalen, every culture had dreadlocks. When people didn't have shampoo and Pantene Pro V, and only the rich people could afford tortoiseshell combs, and people lived in dry, arid climates like deserts and stuff, everybody had dreadlocks.
What's your
You
reason?
know, Nazarene men wouldn't let a
What's your
razor. Nazarene men wouldn't let a razor touch their head, and Samson had 7 locks. So Jesus, Moses, Abraham, all of my race, that's my race, is Christian. Nazarene.
Jesus
Samson,
Christian.
my ancestors, Jesus and Samson and
guys
Abraham and
want to
Moses,
like
they all were rocking some dreadlocks, baby.
are
in
mad
the
at
desert.
me for calling you an idiot, for calling you so stupid and stuff. But no, what's your reasoning for having dreadlocks?
I just told you my ancestors had dreadlocks. My race, Christian.
Okay.
My race is Christian.
Your race is Christian. Oh, because the Jewish people are okay.
If Jew is a race, then Christian's a race, because Jewish people say they're not white. So
well, Roseanne Barr says she's her race is Jewish, that she's not white.
Right. My race is Christian.
Yeah.
I'm not white.
But yeah, I'm
white.
actually
I'm white, like pure.
look, I'm actually a Christian. There should never be any question on who's the Christian between the two of us.
Okay.
Just got that Jesus loves Trump.
You can't tell me about racism in the Bible, and you think we're gonna have different races in heaven. But okay.
No, I can just
Buff,
tell you
what's
about
your question, Buff? What's up, sir? Buff drinks a lot.
What's up, Buff? Good to see you, brother.
I'm not gonna be.
Wait, hold on. I got to cut myself off here. Because I say this all the time, and I just realized it when I just said it. Is that racist? Because I call everybody brother. What's up, brother? Is that racist? Because I'm not dark skinned.
That's more hippie. That's more like you're from Hawaii. You know, chill.
What about my Negro?
What'd you say?
I'm from Detroit, though. That's the thing. I grew up in Detroit. I'm from Hawaii now, but
I said my Negro. I just had a growth spurt, and I got like an inch taller, and my knee was growing.
You know, you're not going to make it to heaven. You're going to burn in hell. You need to stop hiding under the guise of Christianity and probably put back on.
It's a joke, Jalin. Calm down.
No, that's not a joke. That's very inappropriate.
Negro, it means black in Spanish.
You're an ignorant person.
Why?
You're the real with the hard R. You are.
I didn't say a hard R. I did not say a hard R. I said Negro.
Gosh.
I said my knee is growing.
I hope your job sees this, and I hope they fire you for every horrible view that you have.
Oh God, look who it is.
all right, now if we're looking at race, we got it equal now. If we're looking at race,
yeah.
Black.
Is that Frederick?
Yeah, see, it's equality, equity, and diversity.
Frederick!
There's equality.
Racist black man on the planet.
LA. Follow Frederick LA. Follow Frederick
Buff,
LA.
ask your question. What's your question, Buff?
Jalin, I'm really disappointed in you. I had all my money on you tonight. You really let me down. I'm broke. My question really is, do you really believe that the amount of fentanyl that was in George Floyd's body had nothing to do with his death? Because it seems like you're dying on that hill.
Okay. And everybody, this is Buff Drinks a Lot. Do not follow his page. He's another one of those that does not like being a black man. And
that's the second half of what you've been doing in this debate. You were with the argument, and then you started attacking Josh's character and attacking him personally. You lost.
Yes.
You simply lost.
Hush. I'm talking
to the argument. Stop attacking me and answer the question.
Dang. Stop. This is my debate.
Answer the question.
Yes, you will listen to my response. Okay? Now, I said I'm going to die on that hill. I said what I feel about George Floyd very passionately, but you will listen to this. You are a guest right now.
Are you ever going to answer the question?
I just did.
You believe the fentanyl in his system had nothing to do with his death? You really believe in that?
I don't think that at all. I think he got choked. I think he was killed by Derek Chauvin by having the knee on his neck. Next question.
Have you seen the 45-minute long video?
Next question.
Run from it. All right.
I'm not running. I gave you an answer. If you don't like it, tough on you. Next question.
What's up, Mr. Operator? You got a question?
Ask your
Nope.
question.
I
Oh,
just
can't hear
operate.
you. Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Is Frederick trying to speak? Please make sure Frederick can speak.
Yeah, he's not muted though, but I don't hear no. Let me see.
So his mic's not connected properly.
He's got some bad Bluetooth headphones.
You hear me?
There, yeah, it
Can
just
you hear
said
me
something.
now?
Yes,
Yep.
Frederick.
What's going on, Jalin? I was on the other line, but don't worry about it. Hey, I like how you won that debate. You made
Thank
him say right off the dribble, ism. He tried to say ism mean an ideology, right? As in a belief system, right? How can
Yes,
a
sir.
Christian who claims to believe in isms doubt belief systems? You know what I'm saying?
They don't
What's up with
exist.
that? He done turned whether his ideology is a belief system and choose not to, but he can pick and
Yeah.
choose what he believes on what exists. You see how that works?
I'm a Christian.
Yes.
Christianity exists because you believe in it.
Where's the ism in Christian?
No, you said it's a belief ideology. Where is the ideology in ism? He said it turned the noun into a verb. That was Jalen's whole thing. You said it was a. Where'd you get your definition? You said you made it up. You pulled it out of the sky of an ism.
No, I read.
Where did you get your definition of an ism?
I read it. I
No.
wrote it down from
You
the
said
dictionary.
No, look it up right now.
A
You
distinctive
did-
practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political
That is
ideology.
not
or
an
artistic
ideal.
movement.
That is not. That's
That's
facts.
an ism. That's what
Some
the
That's
definition
facts.
of
That's
ism
not an
is.
ism.
That's
That's
what
a
the
philosophy.
definition of ism is.
Read
Google
it again.
Google it. Look it up on Google
Yeah,
right now.
read it again. That
Look up
ideology
Google
came second.
Google ism
Josh,
definition, and it will be
Yeah,
word for word
yeah.
what I
You
just
see what
read.
I'm saying? So is Christianity an ideology? And does it exist?
Yeah, a Christian exists.
Christianity, race exists.
Where's the ism in that?
No, you talking about an ideal.
Yeah, we're talking about isms. Where's the
Yeah,
ism
you won
in
that,
Christian?
Josh. That's why he said he's a
Christian
his race is his Christianity is his race now because he wants to frame the whole belief system all onto what you believe in. You can neglect anything and teach hate. So we're not buying into that teaching hate system and just ignoring it with no accountability. We already know the facts.
I think y'all are the hateful ones. Christian means follower
The
of
name
Christ.
of the question is, do you believe?
It's not called.
It's not a knowing thing.
It's not called
belief
Christianism.
system.
What's the question?
Do you believe racism exists?
No.
And you saying, oh, since it's a belief system, I don't believe in belief systems. It don't exist.
I didn't say that.
Ideology is a belief system.
Right.
Dumbass. The belief that black people are this way that they never seen. It's an idea. They not racist. It's just an idea. Got him, Jalin. You won. Out of here.
Okay, now wait, hold on. All right,
Love
now
you.
it's okay. But now
Love you.
it's now JS, go ahead. From what
So
Mr. I don't want to say his full name, but Mr. Operator was saying.
an ism.
I'll say it. Frederick LA, follow him.
An ism is a belief, and I will still say that a belief doesn't exist. It's not physical. An idea or a thought or a concept or our minds, these are things that don't exist. It doesn't mean that they're not real to some people who believe in them, but they don't physically exist. We can't taste, touch, smell a concept.
A belief doesn't exist, but you call yourself a Christian.
Where do you guys get ism from Christian? Christian means follower of Christ. Christ was a real person, and I follow him, which makes me a Christian. It's not Christianism. If you said
Josh,
Christianism, I would say Christianism doesn't exist.
This is your question to answer. I'm sorry.
Now hold on. Let me keep going, because baptism exists. That's an ism.
Yes.
So if we're going off of typically a political ideology, a distinctive practice, baptism is a distinctive practice based on a belief. So a baptism does exist because it's a practice. For the purposes of this debate, the part of the definition that we're working with is a belief. A belief doesn't exist. Freddie's right, but that doesn't mean he wins the debate. A belief in something doesn't exist. If I have a belief in God, my belief in God doesn't really exist. That doesn't mean God doesn't exist. It just means my belief is a thought, and thoughts, it's not a physical thing. You can't taste, touch it, or smell it. It doesn't exist.
You can't taste, touch, feel God, sir. You can't do that whenever we break bread.
I just said God is real.
Yeah, you also said my belief is not real. You
and
contradict.
I would actually say God doesn't exist. God is existence.
What?
Smoke on that one for a little while.
I'm not gonna. Joshua,
here's another question.
Got more questions.
What is the difference between racism and ethnicity? I think people are ethnicist, and that's like a tongue twister, and not racist because we are one human race with different ethnicities.
Yeah. So I've kind of wrestled with this before, and this is where I came to the idea that I don't think ethnicity and race, I think they're all the same and they mean nothing. Nationality means something because it means what nation you were born in. But it's really, that's also not even that important, because some people call themselves African Americans. They've never been to Africa. They don't know anybody from Africa. Really, you're just an American. Your nationality is American. You were born in America. You're an American. So your nationality is American. But ethnicity, lineage, heritage, race, all these words are just arbitrary. They mean nothing. If you say my ethnicity is English and German, is it really though? I don't know anybody in my family who speaks German. I've lived in America my whole life. I'm third generation Floridian. So is my ethnicity really English and German? And how far back are we going? If we go back farther, we're all Pangean. We all come from, well, I believe we all come from the Garden of Eden. So we're all the same ethnicity. We're all brothers and sisters. Well, actually, no. We're either brothers and sisters in Christ, or we're brothers and sisters in our daddy Satan. We're one of two families, good or evil.
We're all human race, though. That's for sure.
I've had enough of you, Joshua. So yeah, he gave that answer. I don't
see, as a Christian, I don't see how these things upset you that I'm saying, Jalin. Why you're not like, yeah, that makes sense.
As a Christian, it upsets me just your whole existence, sir, because you want to say you're Christian, but you say some of the most hateful things. You're not a Christian. You're a demon. I was not trying to go there. That's why I said I only wanted to do an hour and a half, because I didn't want to have to deal with you no longer. And we did like 2 hours.
When this is over, you'll come over to my stream and
I might. Yeah. You might have a post-show drink. I'll celebrate my victory.
But this race debate is over. We're putting this to bed. I'm not doing no more race content for a minute.
Good, because you've shown yourself tonight.
I think you got demolished. We need to do a poll, because 82% of people were on your side before this debate, Jalin, that racism exists. So I'm on the back foot. I'm fighting for the minority, and you're racist against me because I'm the marginalized side. But I think we should do a poll now, like, not who won the debate, but like, did anybody's mind change? Did anybody?
Why not just redo the poll exactly the way it was at the beginning? Right? Do you believe racism is see if there's a difference in the ratio?
Yeah, we can do it that way. Well, I was telling Jalin that, like, okay, let's say there's somebody in here who's like 90% sure racism is real and 10% unsure. And I swayed them to 15% unsure and 85% sure. That means I won the debate, even though they're still on the side of Jalin. If they were swayed just a little bit, then I did my job.
See, I didn't agree to that from last Saturday. I'm just trying to get you to say that you've talked about racism existing in so much of your argument, but you're not going to actually like say that it exists. It's interesting. But we are at our closing. I want to, again, my Cash App is Jalin8123. If anybody wants to send any donations, I put it in Josh's chat. I very much appreciate everybody that stopped in, even Bub Drinks a lot. I appreciated him, even though he was trying to talk over me, and that was an inappropriate moment, and I had to get out of character with him.
But Freddie
Steve,
yelling over me is fine.
okay, you could have stopped that. You grown.
No,
I'm
it's
not
all
going
right.
to let at me if I feel disrespected.
You said it's Jalin 8123, no spaces or
Yeah.
anything, just $ Jalin 8123.
Yes, sir. JALIN, and then the numbers 8123.
Okay.
And then his is the conservative. We each have pictures on there. We're fledgling young artists, even though we disagree about a lot of things. We all still need money to survive. So, but also I want to say thank you to Steve for moderating. I think very much so, like a good percentage. He was fair. He was very fair. For the most part, he let us have our say. We were glad to listen to what he had to say, even if I disagreed. JS Urban Adventures, Joshua Smith, thank you for accepting the challenge of this debate. I know it wasn't an easy one having to go in with the opposition. However, I still thank you. My duty was still to expose more people like you to the world, and I definitely was successful in that. And so, thank you all again. Cashapp Jalin 8123. Y'all have a good night. Bye bye.
Oh,
All right. And to Jalin, if you're still listening, I want to say, even if I disagree with a lot of things you said, I still love you and still think you're a sexy beast.
Right on. Thanks for having me up here, Steve. It was great to meet your two guests, and I enjoyed the debate, and we'll be chatting soon.
Yep. Right on. Yeah, good seeing you, JM. Real good seeing you,
JM.
brother. Check out everyone in chat too. Check out JM's channel. He's a great dude. Has great content. And
somebody said they're going to give Jalin $500. Nice.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. Well, he said he's going to split it with us. So, all right, I'll say a quick goodbye. JS Urban Adventures, guys. Monday night, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern is my show that I do weekly, where we talk about news and pop culture and everything, philosophy, theology, Bible stuff, everything. Throughout the week, I do random live streams where just before I go into work, I just hang out. And then Friday and Saturdays, we do open Discord panels, long streams, like right now.
Those are the ones where I show up in.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
So if you, after this stream ends, I'm going to start up another stream on my channel. If you want to go in there and jump in the Discord, we can keep this conversation going or talk about whatever while I watch the UFC pay-per-view that's on right now. And yeah, my Cash App is $Dreadedconservative. Spelled correctly, spelled the right, just one word, Dreadedconservative. $. Yeah. But you can hit that up if you want or anything like that. But thank you, Steve. This was fun. Oh, also a challenge to any of your viewers or my viewers. If you want to do something like this on my channel, I'm trying to do more debates like this on my channel. I like it because it gets me writing, and I like to write, but it's hard to get motivated to do it. And this gets me motivated to put the pen to the paper and organize my ideas. And even if I could do this debate again another day and use the same opening that I wrote and change it a little bit and adjust it. So I like this. If you guys want to do something like this on my channel or Steve wants to host it, we could do that too. I'm down for whatever. Just give me, if it's a topic I'm always ready for, we could do that. But if it's something I need to do some research on, or you hear me say something on a show and you disagree, then give me some time and we could put it together. So.
Yep, right on. Yeah, and I put the link to your channel in the chat. So if you're gonna kind of keep going on your channel after this, then you guys can go check it out if you want. And yeah, I've been following JS for a while, and like I was saying, on Fridays and Saturdays, he's got some crazy streams going. Those are the ones where I get home from work at 7 at night and usually jump up and join in because it's fun.
They get kind of wild sometimes, but
yeah.
Yep. Well, all right. Well, thank you again, Steve. I'm gonna jump out of here. And
Okay, right on.
Aloha
And
to
then,
all your chat. Or is that it? Aloha and goodbye and hello.
Yep.
What do you
it's
say?
hello and
Much love and
goodbye.
aloha.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you just said that, I'm kind of like saying the same thing twice when I do that, huh?
Much love and aloha.
Yeah, because aloha it means hello, goodbye, I love you.
Ah.
So much love and love.
Yeah. Kind of redundant, but
right. Sounds good though. Sounds good.
But yeah, that was fun, man. I'll see you later. If you want to come in the Discord later, if you got free time or whatever, you can.
All right, cool. Right on, man.
All right, see ya.
And James.
All right, guys. What should I do? Should I start it? Hold on, I gotta turn on the video capture. Hold on 1 second. Where is it? Hold on, guys. Not window capture. Hold on. There we go. Why is that? That's not right. That's not the right aspect ratio. Main cam, window capture, video capture. Oh, it's right here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, that's better. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to end this stream and start another one. So, just so that this is all just standalone. The debate is standalone content, and we don't worry about it getting banned or canceled because I play something copyright. I'm going to end this stream, and I'm going to start another one in like 2 minutes and get right into it. I'm going to go pee, get some coffee, and we'll get right back to the other stream. So leave this stream and then come back to the next one, guys. We had like 30 people watching. That was awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you liked the debate. It was fun. And I will be right back for the main card is starting. The main card of UFC 301 started, so we'll be watching that. We'll open the Discord. I'll put the Discord link in the chat, in the new chat. You guys could jump in. We could talk about this. We're going to get all this race crap out of the way tonight. So if you want to comment on the debate, come into the debate in the new stream. It's going to be the same thumbnail as the last stream, the fight night. It'll say fight night. That's what we're going to start. So I'll see you guys in like 3 minutes over there. So just go right over there as soon as it's up. Okay, later.